Hi everyone, welcome to Module 7. Again, I can't believe how fast we're moving, and we're in our second to last module. So I will be getting you feedback for your portfolios. That way you can have that, make the edits, email me if you have any questions, and that way we can just get the portfolio taken care of, and you have another class under your belt then. So I'm really excited that we'll have that done pretty soon. So about this week, let me go ahead and share my screen with you. I wanted to go over some details about what to do with this module. And here you see that we're on the landing page, and we go here for Module 7, and let's go ahead and go to the overview. So in Module 7, we are going over gamification, which is super exciting, and I hope you find it exciting as well. And thinking about how courses are kind of already a game already, where, you know, if you do something like, for example, down here for assignments, you can earn up to 50 points. And so you can, do as much as you want for exploring games that educate and earn up to 20 points. Game lesson plan, another 20 points, and obtaining feedback, that's 10 points. So the missing piece, and some people would say that education is not necessarily a well thought through game, is to really think about the student experience. Now, to be transparent and to confess that right now we're treating this as a traditional course, but if I really wanted to gamify this course, it would all we would already have to think about maybe providing more options and paths, planning more for what to do when failure happens, and even thinking about the interface. Like right now, I made the page so that it's easy for you all to kind of quickly see what your objectives, your overview, and your assignments are. But for all of us who've played games before, even though we know the rules of the game, it doesn't guarantee that every time it's going to be the same play. So it would be a different experience. Sometimes people automatically gravitate towards, okay, well, I need to have an avatar, um, like Zelda or something, or Mario, and I need to go on these quests. And in the process, I learn how to beat the system and, either save the princess or get the extra points or catch the Pokemon. But here, there's really things that we're doing too to make sure you get information. Like, for example, by the end of this module, like as our objectives say, you should be able to evaluate educational games for various purposes. You should be able to create a lesson plan centered around an educational game. So keep that in mind. And I don't want to confuse you all, but because this module is focused on games, I kind of loaded it up with anything related to a game. But there's really kind of different paths in our field that talk about gamification. So gamification has kind of mainly been used as a way for people to really think about um, learning design differently, instead of just thinking like, hey, here are some objectives, here's some readings, here's a test. How can we make it so that a student may not even feel like they are learning, but that they're actually playing, and while they're playing, they can gain some knowledge. That's with gamification. I'm also adding something called gameful learning, which is more about your pedagogy. So you may have, for example, a page like this where you have the objectives and the overviews and the assignments, and that's okay, but gameful learning wants you to think more like, how can we maybe tell a story to help you feel like you're playing a game? And so the gamification is really like, how can we make it a game? Whereas gameful learning focuses on what elements within a game that you can introduce into your course. So those elements could be maybe a better point system, maybe a leaderboard, so who has the most points. You may also want to think about with gameful learning, like, what are the rules of the game? And the biggest one is failure. So like, when you play a game, because people want to sell you video games, and if you die, they don't want to be like, okay, well, that's it, and then you don't play, and then you don't buy their game ever again. But in education, as you know, it's pretty like once you're done, you're done. When you're done with the assignment, when you're done with the course, you're just done. And that's not necessarily a game. So building in failure is another element of gaming. And in future iterations of the course, it would be interesting to see, for example, this course become either gamified or have more gameful learning experiences. So I know I've kind of been talking in this little window and we've kind of been focused on this page, but I want you to focus on the assignments for this week. So I'm going to go ahead, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the assignments here. So we kind of went over the point breakdown, but notice that I want that assignment 2, the game lesson plan, is due November 2nd, because I want you all to be able to give feedback to each other. So I know I give you feedback, but instead of a discussion this time, I would like for you all to create your lesson plan and then be able to give feedback for that. So let me go ahead and go to that particular assignment. So as you know, you're going to go through your readings, your videos. A couple of these before I move forward to the assignments is one, how self-directed through learning video games. And then the second one is more from the University of Michigan, where they're talking about gameful learning, that pedagogy that I was just talking about. And this third one is called GradeCraft. Now, I'm not here trying to endorse GradeCraft, but it's a very interesting technology that is trending, especially in the Midwest region, where if you know, okay, fine, when you play a game like on PS4 or whatever, that score is being recorded and you just move on and you keep advancing through levels. But when you do this in education, sometimes when you give people choices, it is a hot mess with grading. So they have actually created a learning management system that facilitates gameful learning. So, you know, maybe if student A wants to do these assignments to get an A, and maybe student B wants to do these other assignments to get an A, that can be tracked in a grade book rather than in Canvas showing up as zeros for assignments. All right, so look into that some more, and I'm sorry, the third video is going to not be so great in audio quality, but again, I just wanted to let you see what the learning management system is like, you know, chew on what your opinion about that is, and then we'll move on to this activity. So activity 1, exploring games that educate. Follow these instructions. They're basically going to take you to games that you can evaluate and answer these questions. You don't have to write these questions again, but in your summary, you should consider how what questions can be answered. Now let's move forward. So this is going to be due November 17th. Now the second one is going to be due not next Sunday, but November 22nd. So that gives you a couple of days to be able to review each other's work and provide feedback. So you're going to go ahead and write your lesson plan here. And your third activity will be that you'll share your game lesson plan here. Now this will be different than your usual discussions where, you know, someone posts and you reply. I've gone ahead and paired you up so that you know that as soon as you post your lesson plan, the other person can start giving feedback. That way, you know, one person doesn't get started, post it, and then, you know, they get 3 people reviewing it, and then maybe someone who's a little bit later in posting not get any feedback because they posted it, you know, Saturday night. So, but because all of your lesson plans should be due on the 22nd, that means you'll have them ready for your peer to review. So Brandon will be paired up with Derek, Hannah with Casey, Vandy with Megan Auburn, and Megan Manning with Jack, also John McCarthy. Okay, so you're going to review each other's lesson plans, provide your feedback here, and I'll go ahead and grade it. Now, last but not least, since we're in Module 7, please, 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 please review your grades. I've been giving feedback. You've been seeing how you're doing in the course. I don't want anyone to be surprised. So if you all please review your grades, Let me know if you have any questions. We still have time where, for example, if you're not happy with, or you feel like you can do better with certain assignments, well, taking the feedback, putting it in your portfolio is one way to ultimately boost up your grade. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of sooner than later. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. All right, well, stay warm, everyone. I know it's been really cold out there. And again, anything, let me know, and talk to you later. Bye.